Hello everyone, it is Commander Spotlight again, and today we are going over our Boros Commander deck. This is a more aggro deck, if you will. However, it's a Spell Slinger deck. The name of the deck is Slinger Feather. If you can't guess who the commander is, it is Feather the Redeemed. She costs 1 red and 2 white. She's a legendary creature angel. Power 3, toughness 4 with flying, and whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell that targets a creature you control, you exile that card instead of putting it into your graveyard as it resolves. If you do, return it to your hand at the beginning of the next end step. So, this deck is full of instances. There are some sorceries, but the main bulk of the non-creature spells are instances so that you can trigger her ability every turn. Now, in order to get all those spells cast, we do need some ramp. A few ways that this deck has to ramp. Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Now, you may not think this is a ramp spell, but however, the first chapter, you make a 2/2 Goblin Shaman that when it attacks, you make a treasure token, and then it gives you card draw, but you discard up to 2 cards if you do draw that many cards, and then when it exiles, it becomes a creature that is a 2/2 Reflection of Kiki-Jiki that you can tap, pay 1, tap, create a token that's a copy of another target non-legendary creature, except it has haste, and then you sacrifice it. So it's another way to make bodies. Because this deck is not very creature heavy, tokens are the way to go. So more ramp, we got monologue tax. When an opponent casts their second spell each turn, you create a treasure token. Archaeomancer's Map allows you to search for lands. And when a land enters the battlefield under your opponent's control, if they have more lands than you, you put a land from your hand onto the battlefield. Thought Vessel would need no maximum hand size because we're going to be bringing a lot of cards back to our hand. So this is all our ramp. Curse Mirror also can become a copy of any creature on the battlefield. You're not taking their creature, but like I said, I always have ways in my decks to take things away. Stormkilled Artist. You cast those spells, you make treasures. And then Oresco's Explorer. When it enters, search your library for up to X planes, where X is the number of players who control more lands than you. If you're going last, this is great. If you're going first, not so great. So we have a bunch of mana, so we are going to need spells to cast. So our spells have a range of abilities. This one pumps your creature, but it gives you pseudo card draw. Exile the top of your library until the end of your turn. You may play that card. Expedite gives you a card draw by targeting as well. Defiant Strike, there's your card draw. Esper Sentinel, when your opponents cast non-creature spell, if it's the first one, they pay mana or you draw based on its power. Then we are casting all those instances and sorceries. The first one you cast, if it targets a single creature, and we are going to be targeting it, Leyline copies them. Which goes into Zada, who copies an instant you cast that targets Zada for the number of creatures you control. And then each copy targets a different one of those creatures. So if you cast Expedite and you have 3 creatures, you cast this on Zada, you'll end up making 2 copies of him. Gravitic Punch, target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to a target player. So this is going to target your creature, which will trigger Feather, and then you do damage to a player. Casting all those instances, we need payoff. Sawblade gets an oil counter, and then you remove an oil counter, tap it, deal damage. Thermal Alchemist deals damage when you tap it. When you cast an instant sorcery, you untap it, so it allows you to do it again. Erebor Flamesmith just deals damage to each opponent when you cast one. Fiery Inscription. This one deals 2 damage to each opponent. Why is that there? We go next to Samut Spirit. This helps you scry, so it allows you to adjust what you want to draw next. We have a couple of these. Daring Escape. Balduvian Rage. This one is interesting. You can pay 0 to give your creature +0/+0, and then draw a card at the beginning of the next turn's upkeep, so it's a 1 mana draw spell. And Fists of Flame, draw a card and then it pumps your creature and gains trample for each card you've drawn. So that's our card draw. I said we don't have a lot of creatures. There was a few in here. Some of the other creatures we have Aurelia, the War Leader, which when it attacks for the first time each turn, you untap all creatures. There's another combat step. Swiftblade Vindicator, it's a 2-drop with double strike, vigilance, and trample. So if you pump this guy up with double strike and trample and vigilance, gain for good. We're going to be casting a lot of spells, and if you end the turn by casting Storm Entity, it enters with 1/1 counters equal to the number of each other spell you cast. Haktos has some protection. You may not be able to target him with your spells if they're the number that gets chosen at random, but it means he has protection against your opponents. Seedglaive Mentor. This triggers whenever it becomes a target of a spell or ability. So you cast a spell, target it, it'll get a counter, and then whatever effect the spell does. And Vanguard of Brimess. When this gets targeted, you make a token, which gives you more creatures to target. Giant Killer, he's in here because of 2 reasons. Destroys big creatures, taps creatures. White Sun Zenith is in here so that we can make more tokens so we can use our spells. And if our stuff gets destroyed, we have some recursion with Sun Titan. So we do have a couple spells that will help Sun Titan do its thing over again. So when it enters, you return a permanent from your graveyard that's mana 3 or less, which we have a bit. And we have... I'll find it here in a second. We have a way to bounce him. Mavinda helps us cast instant or sorceries from the graveyard. If that spell doesn't target a creature you control, it costs 8 more to cast. If that spell would be put into the graveyard, exile instead. So you cast a spell that targets your creature. Feather will trigger, and you can stack it to where Feather triggers and exiles it so it never goes to the graveyard. We have pump spells that are not just pump spells or draw. So this Siege Smash, you can either target your creature or destroy target artifact. Monster's Rage, you get a monster roll token attached to the creature you target, and then you can do this again. Onward gives your creature X plus 0. And then you cast it from the graveyard. Target creature gains double strike until end of turn. So because you target it, you can, if I'm not mistaken, you can trigger Feather to bring it back into your hand and then cast the red side again. Show of Confidence. It copies, it's got Storm, sort of. Because when you cast it, copy it for each other instant or sorcery spell you've cast this turn, you may choose new copy. So only if you get the instants and sorceries. And then Sudden Breakthrough pumps your creatures, and it also gives you a treasure token. We do have ways to protect our stuff, which is right here. I'm going to go through this real quick. You got Boros Charm, Deflecting Palm, Wild Ricochet, Dawn Charm, Ephemerate. You can use this on Sun Titan. Come back to your hand because of Feather and do it over again. Gisela, God's Willing, Sheltering Light, and Boon of Safety. Keep giving your creatures shield counters. We do have some removal stuff here, or disruption. Darkstone Mutation, great to cast on someone else's commander. Galvanic Blast, so if you cast this while Feather's out, it bounces, it exiles, comes back to your hand. You don't have to pay the mana or the energy. So if you cast your creatures, you don't pay the energy, you just get 3 energy. Do this every turn, and eventually you have enough energy to take out one big threat. Valor's Stance. While the hammer, it targets your creature and then deals damage to another target creature, so you'll get this back if Feather's on the field. So anything that has in its text, target creature. So for example, this has Escalate. You can pay the 2 and a red, choose 1 or more. Creature target player controls gain trample. Creatures target player controls gains trample until end of turn. Savage Alliance deals 2 damage to target creature. If you pick target to damage to target creature, that's targeting a creature. Feather will see that. Now, if you pick 2 of them, it'll still see that it's targeting the creature. So unless I'm mistaken, this will be back in your hand. Swords to Plowshare, oldie but a classic. Breath of Daragaz, good old Blasphemous Act. Meteor Blast, Cleansing Nova, Fiery Confluence, Martial Coup, which will give you the soldiers if you pay 5 or more, and it'll destroy everything else, and Explosive Entry. So we have a lot of spells to cast. So how can we make sure that we get the right spell at the right time? Well, you do it with one of the, in my opinion, better equipments for a deck like this, and that is Sunforger. It's a 3-drop artifact equipment where equipped creature gets +4/+0. It has an equip cost of 3, but if you pay red and white, you unattach Sunforger. Search library for a red or white instant card with converted mana cost 4 or less, and cast that card without paying its mana cost. So let's say this is attached to Feather, and someone wants to go and exile Feather. You can pay the 2 and go search. Where is it at? For any protection for Feather. So God's Willing, give it protection from the color of the spell. Ephemerate, just blink it. It'll come back. Or Dawn Charm. Counter target spell. Oh, I thought it was target creature. So this would not work. However, if they try to target you with a spell, you can search this. If you want to put a boon on it, you can search this. If you want to give it indestructible, you can search this. So this is a great equipment in here. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, comments, please leave them down below. What would you change? What would you add to the deck? And check out our other playlists for more Commander spotlights, as well as our opening of sealed product. Thank you for watching.